Hello everyone, my name is Kamal. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about gear. Now, gear is a very important tool in the world of photography and cinematography because it's what bridges the gap between your ideas and your creative things up there and actually giving them life on a technical level on the ground. And as such, I think that the idea that gear doesn't matter is simply false. But it doesn't matter in the way you necessarily think. So let's discuss that, and we're going to talk about it from a photographer's perspective and a YouTuber/videographer's perspective. Because it's not the same thing, but in the end it leads up to the same idea. So since this video is packed, let's not waste any time and roll the intro. Getting started with the photographer's perspective, personally I own two cameras, alright? And before I tell you which ones they are, I'm going to show you a few photos I took. And I don't know if you guessed, but these are in no way high-end cameras. My main camera is a Fuji X100T with which I'm actually filming right now. It's even a bit old, but it does the job for me. And my second camera is a Canon 60D, which is even older, but still does what I need it to. In this case, gear doesn't matter because these are in no way Sony a7 III's and Canon R5's, but for what I want to do, portrait photography and occasionally some landscape, it actually works. My Fuji is good for filming, I use it for vlogging, for filming some short films. And my Canon is actually pretty good for photos. And even before that, I started with a smartphone. And I know it's very easy to say, yeah, but a smartphone will never be as good as a DSLR. And that's true. But in the end, your photo is more about what you're shooting, how you're shooting it, your perspective, your story you're telling through it, rather than actually the gear. And now think about that. When you see a photo that you like, okay, usually what do you think? That's a pretty photo, I like the composition, the colors, the subject, whatever. Or you're like, damn, this was shot with the 50mm f1.4 G Master. Of course you're not gonna think like that, that's not how it works because photography is an art. And some of us, I admit myself too, are a bit more nerdy and are actually interested in glass and lenses and bodies and sensors and in all these things. But in the end, they're not a really big part of photography. But there's a counter argument to that. Here's an example where gear matters. Let's say you're a sports photographer. In this case, you would not only need a lens with a huge zoom, but also a pretty wide aperture so the lens is fast. And to accommodate for it, you're going to need a camera that has pretty fast burst speeds, something like this. And no matter what you say, this is going to burn a huge hole in your pocket. But at the same time, in this case, if it wasn't for that, the gear would be blocking your creativity. What I mean is that gear matters only when gear is the only thing limiting you creatively. And trust me, in most cases, gear doesn't limit you. You can shoot with your smartphone or whatever cheap camera you find, and it's gonna be good if you know what you're doing, if you're trying hard, if you practice, if you work it out, it's gonna be good. But in some very niche, limited cases, gear actually matters. When gear doesn't let you achieve your vision, that's when it actually matters. And I think as photographers, it's important to make the distinction between the gear buying fever, yeah, I want the new shiny camera, the new shiny lenses, or actually, I need this for a creative factor and not a flex factor. So I think there are two sides to the argument of gear in photography, but I think that overall, it's just about the story you say through your photos and what you're actually shooting. You can very easily start with a smartphone, and if you really want to start with a camera, just look around, ask for your friends. Maybe you can keep it for a while at your place and actually use it. But if you're talking videography and especially being a YouTuber, it's a bit different. Let me show you what I mean. So right now Mahir is flying his drone and I have no idea where it's ending up. So Mr. Drone Driver.
Yes, Mr.
Where is it now?
For now, it's 200 meters away from us.
Jesus Christ.
It is coming back right now.
So Mahir, how's the view?
It is perfect. Look at the sunset. You can see it. You can hear the birds chirping.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what to say.
Well, first of all, I hope you enjoyed this drone montage. Mahir's Instagram is in the description. But yes, YouTube. So let me start with something very clear. This video looks cool, alright? That was the point. You don't need that. You can film YouTube with your smartphone, and everything else comes as a cherry on top. And if you noticed, almost all viral videos on the internet are shot with a fucking potato phone at this point. Because again, it's about the content, the story. And by story, I don't mean a book. By story, I mean maybe it's information, maybe it's knowledge, maybe it's an actual narrative story. But for your videos on YouTube, it's all about the content. But once again, there's a counter argument. Using a microphone will make you more audible. Using a camera will add this slight touch of depth of field that's not necessary, but certainly looks good. Especially in this big sea of content, it helps you stand out. But again, you don't need it. Having drone shots, it looks cool, it looks epic, it looks badass, it makes you think of an adventure. But is it necessary? Totally not. We've all seen this meme of the YouTuber who comes with like $1,000 cameras and huge lenses and microphones and lights, and who's like, yeah bro, gear doesn't matter, shoot with your smartphone. But I think that these people actually know it better than us because they've actually tried it, and I think they've noticed that getting better gear certainly doesn't make them a better cinematographer or a better YouTuber. In the end, it's all about the content, and gear comes as your kind of pathway to create your art. What I mean by that is just use what you have to start, use your smartphone, use whatever cheap camera you have at home, and it's gonna do the job, right? Make sure your content is good, make sure you have fun with it, most importantly. And then after that, if you see you're actually getting into it and willing to invest in it, get a new camera, maybe get a microphone, it's things that aren't necessary, but that over time just helps you get a better quality, a better look, and to stand out a bit more. And also, if we're all frank with each other, it's very fun to work with gear. So I'm trying not to make this video too long, but does gear matter? I mean, in a way it does matter, but it's not necessary. It's all about the story, the content. Start with what you have, and when you can get something better, it's okay, but always keep in mind, story first, gear second. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out.